Lunchtime for us. As you can see, we just got the fresh Domino's. Come and get them. No. But anyhow, a couple days ago, we got back from seeing Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and I guess we'll start off with you, Bobby, because this is your first Star Wars film.
Yeah. I thought it was good. Had some problems, but I liked the characters and the action.
How do you think about your introduction?
But yeah, it was a good introduction, because going in, like, I remember you were telling me you didn't expect me to, like, have trouble following it.
Yeah.
And and what kind of made me worried was I saw the former editor-in-chief of the college newspaper I worked for said she had a hard time following it, but I was able to get most of the things. I was expecting I was gonna come out of this movie like, when you showed me the entire Evangelion series, and I was like, what's this mean? What's this? What's that? What's this?
What does it mean? On that note, I have to say that I was even looking out to see just how much stuff was hinted back to from, like, probably the older movies, 4, 5, and 6, and honestly, I think the way that they did it's really not that big of a problem, I think, for newcomers.
Well, with the exception of one plot point, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I guess for me, like, I thought it was good. It was very good. I still think that, now, compared to the original trilogy, it's weaker than all of them. Yes, even Return of the Jedi, because I just think the moments were stronger in that movie, but definitely a step up from the prequels, and hey, it's close to Return of the Jedi when it comes to as a standalone movie.
I honestly was very happy just to see this come back. I mean, especially after the last movies that had come out being the prequels. I really had very low expectations. At first I was ready to take in something similar to that nature, but was really happy to see something a little closer to Return of the Jedi. Being a particular fan of the original trilogy, it was really, really nice to see that come back.
Well, definitely not as much as me, because unlike you, I grew up with the trilogy. I know this would probably take a while, but I actually think I can find my own special edition VHS tape somewhere in the garage.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
But yeah, like, you mentioned Return of the Jedi, but honestly, if anything, this movie took a lot more from A New Hope, to the point where, if you look at it closely, the plot is exactly the same.
That is a very good point.
But like that seems to be a common complaint from anyone. Like, if there's one thing that people were kind of disappointed on, is that it is so much closer to New Hope, to the point where it becomes pretty predictable at the end.
Yeah, I had actually taken one of my friends who was particularly new to the franchise to go watch it with me opening evening. And she said, yeah, that it was extremely predictable. Though, I think at that point, when you're that far into a franchise, it's something to expect.
Yeah, but you mentioned it yourself. Like, you and Bobby, your friend and Bobby, were seeing it for the very first time, and even to them, it was kind of predictable. I think that's something to say about the fact that out of all of them, New Hope has been parodied to hell, to the point where the entire plot line for that is pretty much like dot for dot people can describe it.
Well, I don't know, like, I kind of knew where it was going from even the first time. Is it alright if I start getting into the characters?
Sure.
Finn and Rey, like, met, and they're operating the Millennium Falcon. But to me, it was a kind of, you know, even though I knew it was going, it was one of those, like, formulas where, you know, I was willing to, like, sit through, like, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those, like, kind of likable movies where, yeah, even though I know where it's going, I'd like to hear it. You know, it wasn't, to me, like a cliche movie, per se.
I can understand that.
And that's one of the peculiar parts of that aspect, because I mean, usually when you think of like a very predictable plot, you expect a lot of cliche, but
which it kind of is in the Star Wars universe, definitely.
but at least in the Star Wars franchise, it's kind of an aspect of it overall. Like you're already waiting to see certain things because people read up already a lot before even starting to watch the movies. You know, there's a lot that's already out there, and so people have expectations.
Well, I guess that's good enough plot-wise for now. We can move on to that later, but I guess we'll start off by saying, as far as characters go, you won't see a lot of the old characters, but they make the most out of it, with the exception of Han Solo. He's practically a main character in all of this.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like reviewers say he's pretty much like, you know, makes this movie. I will say though, I have a feeling watching Han Solo, he'd probably be like a favorite character of mine because he was like the one that like I got the most invested in. I'm not sure if I would say if he like carries the movie because I still liked the new cast enough that I wanted to see them through. So.
Alright, for all of you asking for Luke Skywalker.
I think that you should get ready for a little disappointment there.
One thing we can confirm though, as of now, let that theory die. Let that theory die. He is not Kylo Ren.
Nope,
Okay?
nope. How did that even start?
Because I think it's mainly because in the trailer when they have the whole like touching R2D2, even though you know his robot hand is pretty clear, the fact that he was wearing all dark cloaks and stuff, people immediately thought, "Oh, it's him."
Or they're just trying to find answers, I guess.
I guess that the other thing is with the new characters, Ray and Finn, perfect casting in my opinion. Like,
I have to agree.
Like Daisy Ridley just fits the image of a female Luke Skywalker so well.
Good way of putting it.
And as for Finn, like, here's the thing. I'm kind of mixed on him only because the actor John Boyega, I first saw him in Attack the Block, and he was incredible in that. Like, he just stole the show. Here, he is a major part of it, but you do get the feeling that he's kind of the sidekick in all of this.
Yeah, that is a very good point. I mean, sure. He goes out and he does like, I don't know. There's a lot of like I guess Steven said, he's very involved in the plot, but the emphasis on him is just not as strong as
Daisy Ridley.
Yeah.
What do you think, Bob?
It's funny. Anyhow, I thought it was. I don't want to go as far as to say I'm at the total opposite, but
Here's it. I'm right, you're wrong.
but I don't know. I still kind of feel like I felt, you know, John Boyega's Finn, and like, I guess the best way I would put it, he played a bit of a larger role than you two are making it sound like. But I still kind of get what you mean when you say, you know, Daisy Ridley as Rey, you know, steals the show.
Oh,
That's the main thing. I'm saying, you know, it's not like he did a bad job or he was like undermined or anything. You know, Daisy just took.
He had a more complete character arc, whereas like with his character, I still think that we're kind of just getting either we're just getting the beginning of his story, or he just doesn't have much story to tell right now.
Yeah.
Well,
Because and if that what happens at the end is gonna be up for a long time, we probably won't get much of his story until maybe even the third movie.
well, excuse me. Did he really have much of a story to begin with? Because he's basically like, we're not gonna like say what happens at the start of the movie, right?
I mean, as far as character development, he's very straightforward.
And here's the thing, though, like out of all of them, I think he has the most interesting backstory, which is why I was disappointed with him because he's a stormtrooper who got PTSD at the first battle that he got, so he says screw it and just run. So he's essentially running from all of the his fellow stormtroopers. And he's also trying to handle the fact that he's trying to make it seem like he's part of the Rebel Alliance to get Daisy Ridley along with the ride. But I mentioned the problem before, but I think both of you were okay with it. Is that I feel like that whole story could have been expanded into its own narrative. Because think about it. They mentioned that they stopped using clones, that they basically just force script kids into child soldiers and then just train them up from there. And I think the only character we ever get that's not Finn involving the stormtroopers is Captain Phasma, and we barely even get her. Which, by the way,
that is very true.
Which, by the way, a pleasant, really attractive voice for Captain Phasma. If I please say that myself, I was like, wow, that is so much more delicate than I thought would sound under that helmet. I thought it was. By the way, how much time do we have for the recording?
About 7 minutes.
Okay then. Oh, okay. Well, let's rush to another thing. Granted, he had much more story than Poe had. Poe, I'm talking about the X-Wing fighter.
Right.
He's just kind of there. I mean, he's a cool guy, but I get the feeling he's just there throughout this movie to have action sequences.
I would agree. I was expecting him to be a little more involved in the plot.
Yeah.
Especially considering the actor. I mean, Oscar Isaac just got, with Inside Llewyn Davis, and he got all these major roles, but here he's just kind of there, which is a shame because to think all that hard work he did after being cast in Sucker Punch, and then to move up from there, and now he's just a side guy.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same plane as Gaby, because when I first saw him, and then they were escaping, and I thought, oh, this is where the movie's gonna go, but then it's like, hey,
he disappears through most of the movie. Which, by the way, how the heck did he get out of that TIE fighter?
Yeah, I was kind of, and then when Rey first showed up, what was the character's name again?
Which one?
The character that we're talking about?
John Boyega?
No, not Finn, like
Poe?
Poe?
Yeah, Poe. Oh, he just kind of like, it disappeared from my mind, and then when he came back,
shows you how little screen time we get of him.
Yeah. And I mean, I was already seeing him as, kind of taking Han Solo's place, in a sense, because he had that kind of, aura around him, if I can say anything about that.
But no, Han Solo said, hey, you ain't replacing me! Or did he?
That's to be seen.
Speaking of side characters, though, one funny fact that I didn't really like is, okay, they have there's a sequence where Solo is dealing with his smuggling business, and he can never pay off his debt. So he's
Right.
cornered by two different bounty hunters, and one of them includes Yayan Rihan and Iko Ue from the Raid. And you never see him do anything badass. Like, what the heck? I mean, if any of you have actually seen the Raid, let me just say this. Those two guys can take down the entire Sith Empire with freaking pocket knives. Why not give those guys lightsabers?
I don't know. It's kind of funny. Like it's almost.
You get two guys pretty much known for their martial art prowess, and you don't give them freaking lightsabers? You don't even let them shoot anything down. They're just running from these monsters that, by the way, CG-looking monsters that Han Solo just happened to be smuggling.
It's funny when I first saw them and when they didn't really get much to do. I was kind of like, is this supposed to be a testament to how tough it is to get into Star Wars? But then it's like, well, but then again, most of the new characters are played by relatively either unknown or.
And here's the thing, Lupita Nyong'o from 12 Years a Slave, after that much of a spotlight, she basically is there. She doesn't even get a line. She's there to make a face and see her planet get blown up. Did you even see her anywhere?
No.
She was in that last planet that the Starkiller base blew up. You saw her face looking up at the sky. That's all she was there to do.
It's no wonder, because the other day my dad wanted to take my sister and her friend to see Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, Lupita Nyong'o, she's in the movie. She won that Best Actress Oscar for 12 Years a Slave." But
Nope.
yeah, and, me and Gaby, we can't remember seeing her.
Yeah.
Unless she was cast as a body double from one of those stormtroopers, I don't know if she got anything in.
Might be the biggest trolling in acting since Dick Van Dyke's very small cameo in Dick Tracy. By the way, we're at the 2-minute mark.
I think that pretty much covers the characters, except for Kylo Ren. And
oh, good lordy Jesus.
Okay, I'm just, you both know what I think of him, but what do you two think? Especially you, since you're very good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start I thought it was good from what I've seen, and it's kind of funny. I know he's supposed to be intimidating, but I really didn't get that until say the second half of the movie, which let's just say after one big scene, it kind of set in my mind, you don't screw around with this guy.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Adam Driver is really good in the role, but I felt he could have been a lot stronger.
At first, I thought I was a bit worried because I couldn't see any particular reason for him to even be in that position once I figured out who exactly he was. So I was like, okay, there's going to be this great reason for this happening, right? And then what he ends up doing, I'm not going to say what, but that was part of what ruined the character for me. And then seeing his personality just play out, it was like watching a little baby throw a tantrum.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I know what you mean. As far as for when the tantrum goes, and at one point it's even kind of funny to see. But yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I couldn't find my special edition VHSs of the Star Wars trilogy. I guess I gave them away a long time ago. But okay, my ideas on Kylo Ren. I think on concept he's not a bad villain. Especially since, yes, we're gonna spoil it right here. The fact that he was not only Luke Skywalker's pupil, but Han Solo and Leia's son. There is a lot to go on that, especially considering what he's accomplished thus far. But the problem with him as a character is that we don't get to see the why. We only get to see the what and what he's currently feeling. There is absolutely nothing that we get to see when it comes to why he went through all this betrayal, how he got baited by Snow, which, by the way, not one of Andy Serkis's best. Like, Snowed was very obviously CG.
Yeah.
I don't even think his design was that impressive. But okay, we don't see any of that. So when we see him like suffering between the pain of the light side and the dark side taking over, I don't feel like he's going through any struggle. It feels like a ruse because we never see how it got to that point. So when it came to that big moment. Yeah, extra spoiler warning right here. Skip to this time, whatever is put up right here. But when he killed his father and basically ends up killing a major character, it feels kind of unearned. Like, it feels like it was just put there to punch the Star Wars fans in the gut. And also because originally it was planned for Han Solo to die in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels like he was there because he had that purpose. He wasn't there because it was part of his character.
And honestly, for me, especially Han Solo being my favorite character from the original trilogies, to see him just put out like that is just kind of like...
I mean, come on. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Bobby mentioned that he's still intimidating, and I mentioned that for Darth Vader, which, by the way, they never explained how he got such a massive boner for Darth Vader. But here's the thing, with Darth Vader, yeah, in the first movie, we don't know why he got this way. We don't know how he got this way. We don't even know what kind of beef he had with Obi-Wan, which he ends up killing. But because that performance and his presence is so strong, you get the feeling he's been through a lot. You don't need to know, you just feel it from his presence, from the fact that he just nothing can stop him. That everyone bows at his knee, and anyone who gets in his way ends up getting the shaft. Whereas with Kylo Ren, if you get in his way, he takes his anger out on the Empire's equipment. Which, by the way, while it is funny, I'm sorry, the only one that's gonna be hurt is your financial advisors, because all you're doing is wasting money on equipment you destroy.
Yeah.
Like Darth Vader was very methodical, and even with just one lightsaber battle, he was intimidating as well. And he just got more and more intimidating. But while you could say, like, well, he got more intimidating by Empire and became a full character by Return, even with just his introduction, he felt like a full presence. Whereas with Kylo Ren, it almost feels like you need a sequel for him to be a character at all.
Which we pretty much agree he's gonna come back.
He is. He is. Especially since they mentioned that his training isn't finished yet. But I just get the feeling that out of not all of them, he's very underwritten. And even when it comes to I will say this: the one moment where I thought he was both intimidating and we got a hint of his character was when he took out the mask. Which, by the way, he looked, I don't know what to feel about how he looked, but it is interesting to see how, like, the Darth Vader clone, in this case, is not scarred. He doesn't need the mask in order to survive like him. He's just holding it as kind of like, oh, you're the symbol. And that whole scene where he's trying to influence Daisy Ridley with the Force, trying to get into her mind, that scene, I thought, hey, we kind of know what this guy's like now.
And honestly, I thought it played out very well, mostly because when you play in the part that they are siblings. Sorry. You just kind of...
Not siblings, cousins. Distant cousins.
I got the
Wait,
theory. Really? Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because, look, Han Solo and Leia, they don't have the Force. Who else has the Force?
Very
And
true.
who does she meet? Why in the world would she get all those visions specifically to that one person when she touches the lightsaber?
Good part. Anyway, being related.
Yeah.
Being related and seeing them interact in that way kind of felt right. You know?
It just took a while to get there, really.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing I can say about this movie is that it's very padded at points. Like, no, yeah, we love those action scenes and stuff, but they don't, half of them, you're fully into them, and the other half, they're kind of weightless. Especially, like, the thing that made me notice this the most was the final battle. When it came to the whole lightsaber confrontation on this one side of the planet, that felt epic. But the stuff with with the Star Killer, with that base getting destroyed, well, we've already seen that twice. Actually, 3 times if you include the prequel, the blowing up the planet-sized battle station. So it just felt like there's more to say.
That was
Again,
kind of
having
embarrassing.
not seen any of the other Star Wars movies, which I'm probably gonna have to see at least the original trilogy for something I'm working on. Forget that I said that I'm working on something, but yeah, I definitely didn't get that. You know, that like just like you know how you said from one lightsaber battle with Darth Vader, you get the feeling don't screw around with this guy, and also the fact that even though his motivation isn't clear, you kind of know something. Yeah, I definitely didn't get either of those from Kylo Ren.
Like you're... Oh, go ahead.
I kind of think that part of the difference that was made in that sense was the pace at which information was given to us on each character. Because, I mean, we already got so much information given to us about Kylo Ren in this one movie that he comes out in, while the information that we got on Darth Vader took over 3 different movies to really add up. You know, and it's.
And here's the thing, though. That's the difference, though. The information we got in the original trilogy, it's very basic, but you can it's told in a way where you can almost imagine the details from your head, just from how they give it to you. Like, even, I will say this. The thing I mentioned, the thing that made me realize, like, this guy ain't no Darth Vader, is that what does Darth Vader do in the first movie? He chokes the rebel soldier. He nearly chokes one of his minions. He kills Obi-Wan, and he takes down some X-Wings before flying away. What does Kylo Ren do? He manages to stop a freaking laser in mid-air before it's even shot, and that's only in the intro, by the way, and he's still not up to that level. I mean, as far as intimidating stuff he actually does, Kylo Ren has much more than Darth Vader ever had in the first movie. But he still feels underwhelming, even with all that power.
If anything, well, now that we said it right now, maybe I did feel like, find him intimidating just because.
What he can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But what I'm actually, like, kind of hoping, like, wait, with Darth Vader, wait, we said that, you two said that, like, he was intimidating from the first lightsaber battle, right?
Indeed.
Maybe, like, what they're trying to do is, like, they're gonna, like, build him up in, like, the 2, upcoming sequels.
Well, I think if they do want to keep him and make him any good, I think they're going to have to do that.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm saying maybe that's their idea. It's like, we'll give you a taste with Force Awakens, but as we go on to 8, maybe even in 9, episodes 8 and 9, then you'll find him, maybe not as like Darth Vader, caliber, but still.
But here's the problem, though. Like we mentioned, like there's Rey and Kylo Ren, their connection not only as members of opposing side, but who they represent. I get the feeling that if they were trying to make that connection, they should have cut out some of the stuff for the side characters, or even some of the main cast, to specifically focus on that, because that part was the one that felt the most underwhelming. Except when it comes to the last lightsaber battle, which I think you want to get into like the special effects now.
I don't know. I'm not really much for special effects. I mean, I guess
they were pretty
okay. I mean, I wasn't really expecting them.
I will say though, this was in the first trailer. Yeah. The one scene that did blow my mind, although this is more of a cinematography thing, was when you saw there was like an upside down shot of like the Millennium Falcon.
Oh,
yeah, that was awesome.
I will say, like, out of all the Starship battles, that scene in the Millennium Falcon, that still looks cool. Mm-hmm. But I think the stuff with dealing with all the X-wings just kind of felt like, it looks alright. Mm-hmm. I think here's the thing. They made a big deal throughout that they're going to use practical effects. And they do. And the practical effects on the aliens and such, they look amazing. But in a way, that kind of makes the CG stand out more.
That is true.
Like, I don't mind CG being used as an enhancement, or if everything's CG, then sure, like, just do it that way. If believability isn't what you're going to go for, then just put it all over the place. But it feels like it's kind of caught in that middle part where there's some part where even when they use the CG and it looks impressive, you don't feel like you're in it. Like with the Millennium Falcon battle, like you feel like you're in it because they managed to mix it up. Whereas then once the X-Wing come out, like they look cool, but they look too clean. They look too animated. It just kind of feels that way because of that.
Yeah, and then like especially looking back at the kind of X-wings we're used to seeing back from like Hoth, or even when like at the ending of the first movie, New Hope. Yeah. First movie. You kind of get that gritty feeling, connected to the X-wings, and I guess when you point out how they were so neat and clean with remaking, with putting them there, it feels like that's not the X-wings that we were expecting to see. I mean, it's something different, and I mean, if it were in a time period that's supposed to be before we were introduced to the X-wings, I mean, I think that could have worked a little better. Oh, hello.
We're recording.
We're recording.
But well, I guess the other thing about it is I don't think it's entirely the CG though. I think it's just because it's the same as what we've seen before. Because I mentioned with Bobby, I showed him like a comparison between that and I know you missed it the first time, but the intro to Revenge of the Sith. Mm-hmm. That's completely CG. It looks like a friggin' cartoon. Mm-hmm. But I felt more hype seeing that part in the theater compared to what we got out of the Star Battle, because simply put, there's a lot going on in that. I mean, you can't look at a single part of the frame without something exploding, some debris falling off, some dogfight going on. I mean, it's just so much variety in that scene. Where, like, especially when they bring out the whole buzz droids, where it's like, oh, now here's missiles, but oh no, they're not missiles. They're little tiny robots that are tearing apart your starship bit by bit. Like, there's a lot of creativity in there, whereas this is like, oh, here's what you have already seen in 2 entire movies in the original trilogy.
And I think they were probably doing that on purpose, expecting people to just be happy to see it back, just because of how people were so excited to see the Millennium Falcon come back.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Millennium Falcon hasn't been around for a long time. We've seen a lot of X-Wings.
That is very true, but I mean, I'm not saying as much as like that makes it okay, but as to explain why they would even resort to that, which I don't think was a very good move.
And here's another thing, though. The other thing that I got out of both of those prequels and the up to Return of the Jedi, apart from variety of what's going on the screen, there's varying scale. I mean, now that I think about it, the reason why I wasn't that much into the Star Killer base attack is because it's just TIE fighters versus X-Wing. Whereas in, like, say, Return of the Jedi, I mean, there's entire fleets of differing sizes all going at each other. It's like, okay, here's a big one, here's a small one. I mean, I know that's a basic thing, but it gives you a sense of scale just from measuring the ships along side by side. How much time do we have?
2:47.
Okay, but let's talk about the lightsaber battle now, which at first I was kind of disappointed on, because one thing I will give credit to the prequel lightsaber battles is they're very varied with their movements. Like there's a lot of jumping and just moving from one side to another, even included with their how they move their lightsabers. Whereas this was more like here slash here slash here slash. But after really thinking about it, what I like about it is it really does give a feeling that these two are amateurs still. I mean, come on, Rey hasn't gone through any Jedi training,
Sure.
and Kylo Ren is still in training too. So it still gives out the it doesn't give out the feeling of like an epic battle, but more like a desperate race to see who can make the deepest slash next.
I don't know. I kind of felt I got more out of it. Well, one, because
First time.
either like with Kylo Ren, he's so much training with kids. Because I don't know. I remember there was a little more jumping around than
Well, compared to the original trilogy, sure. I mean, George Lucas ain't no Wu Ping. He can't get people to jump around like they're friggin' Spider-Man. But yeah. Speaking of which,
I don't know. I mean, the only reason why I wasn't really expecting much out of the lightsaber fights was pretty much, what was her name,
Rey.
Yeah. When she actually goes through that whole thing with like finding the lightsaber and her reaction towards it. I mean, I wasn't expecting her to really get too acquainted with it. It's just kind of like you can't expect somebody like with that kind of thought process towards these weapons to really, impress you with something like that.
I guess honestly, I think I would have liked it better if they didn't have to bring Yayan, Rihan, and Iko Uwe to remind me of those hand-to-hand combat in the Ray 2.
Yeah.
Like, darn it! Now I'm expecting something that good. All I can say is they don't try to force it onto you. It just kind of happens, and for what they do with it, it feels very natural. It's almost like they're two big fans of the old legacy, and they're just all living through their dreams. It's really endearing.
I would agree, but I mean, I honestly am going to say I didn't really think much of it as it just being a thing, because obviously it is.
Yeah, it's cute. It's not like all over the place or melodramatic. It's there.
It's really funny how I didn't really see them getting together even from when I first saw I didn't even know there was gonna be a female character until I actually saw the movie. And even the first time I saw Rey, I wasn't like, oh yeah, Rey and Finn, or they're gonna get together at the end.
But the way it happens, they just kind of ease into it. It's like they're both very naive about it.
Right. Okay. So.
You were gonna say? You were gonna say?
Oh, I was done with that.
No. But though that does lead me to one thing that I did kind of notice once I made that connection is this is very much the most expensive Star Wars fanfic you will ever find because think about it. You have the thing about good fanfics is they're all about how faithful they are to the canon and how they get the characters right, and if they're going to introduce a new character, how it connects to that old part. That's very much what happens here. I mean, they treat the old trilogy like it's some legend. They joke about how crappy the prequels are constantly. The fact that all of it is self-aware that it's copying straight out of the original, and the fact that the fact that they have to involve these old characters throughout very feels like something you would find out of a really good fan fiction.
I have no say in this, but
because you haven't read good fan.
But yeah, that and also, did you kind of get that? Also, I remember when Ray was saying, Luke Skywalker, I thought he's just a myth.
Yeah, that's very much what I was getting, huh?
But I honestly just kind of got that feel when I was watching the movie, though I never really thought much of it. But I don't think I could have described it in any better way.
It is the biggest fan film. That is both a strength and weakness in my opinion. Strength because you can feel the enthusiasm for the material it's getting off of. I mean, it's pretty much paying loving tribute to it, but it does bring one thing where, as horrible as the prequels are, you do get the feeling that there was like their own vision to it when they made those. Whereas with these, it's pretty much like, hey, I love this, I want to see it continue, so let's just do it. Which is, like I said, that's not necessarily a bad thing if that's what you want. I mean, why do you think there's such a heavy market for the fanfiction market out there, specifically for that? But it does point out that go in with the right expectation, because if you wanted something indefinitely new, that's not what you're getting here.
Right.
It is very much Star Wars and nothing but Star Wars.
Okay.
And I guess it was that I came into the theater with that kind of expectation to just like feel that Star Wars feel the whole way through, that I was able to enjoy it from beginning to end.
I think I would have enjoyed it more if it wasn't for the fact that Mad Max Fury Road came out this year.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that didn't just pay tribute. That elevated it to a level. That elevated the Mad Max series to a level that you never thought it could go before.
Although that being said, it's funny how, like, I guess after Seeing Fury Road, that was the movie that got me worried that I was going to be asking a bajillion questions with Force Awakens. Not that Fury Road, like, you can't watch it if you're a newcomer, but there's a couple of things that, you know, happened in the first movie that are sort of reference. And also from an effects level.
Yeah.
And even, like, from, I would even say, like, in terms of, like, new things, well, I wouldn't say new, it's just maybe things I didn't see coming in Fury Road. I saw more things I wasn't expecting in Fury Road than in Force Awakens.
And by the way, for all of you Menonists that are whining that Mad Max didn't get enough screen time, you are gonna hate this movie too, because Finn gets even less screen time. You got nothing.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
But I guess that pretty much sums up our views of the film. Like, it is a worthy successor, but I hope it does get better from here, because as it stands, it's just good and nothing more.
Honestly, I going off of that, I feel like again, this is our first movie coming from Disney in the Star Wars franchise. Now, I think Disney just wanted to get a feel with what kinds of stuff that the fans were expecting, and the newcomers wanted to see as well. So I'm expecting the next movie to be at least a little bit better than this. And if it is, that's just going to make the franchise a lot more stronger.
But here's the thing. The first movie to come out of Marvel was Iron Man, and very few in the franchise have matched up to that. This, I get the feeling it can easily be surpassed.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, I'm just gonna like sum my thoughts as a newcomer. I mean, like I said, I did think it was good. I do think it's good, and I'm even like surprised to see like when I say like a lot of newcomers went to see it. I even have like friends who I never would have expected like to get into Star Wars. Even like
were they the ones that would make fun of you if you said Star Wars? Like, ha ha ha, you like that nerdy crap.
No, I'm talking about like, I don't know if I go that far, but they're like my like high school cross country teammates and my coaches, and they're not like hardcore like movie people or into that kind of thing. So like to see it's kind of interesting. I guess I'll just say it's kind of interesting to hear they're finding out like, oh, Darth Vader died at some point. And even
what?
Yeah, we have a funny story.
I didn't even know that myself. And then like even more so, I even heard like one of my other like friends say he didn't even know that about Luke, I am your father, and it's. So, yeah, it is good to see.
Yeah,
I mean, it is a good movie to see if you're not familiar with Star Wars at all. Like, you won't have that. I mean, there's a couple little things, but if you just see this as a standalone movie,
all the spoilers it gives to the original are stuff you've probably already been spoiled to in a bunch of internet memes.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Or by Family Guy. Or Robot Chicken. Family Guy or Robot Chicken. Or even Simpsons, I think.
I don't know if I saw any from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I knew about, Darth Vader saying he's Luke's father for like ever since I was a little kid.
Heck, that's been spoiled since Epic Rap Battles, if you think about it.
No, even before like Epic Rap, I knew that scene was familiar. I even remember like in elementary school, my principal like imitated that.
I mean, I know that it's probably not. I shouldn't blame anyone, but I just get the feeling that anytime I hear someone say for the first time, I didn't know Darth Vader was Luke's father. I almost get the feeling that it's like that one grandpa who just found out 2 + 2 = 4. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for those. I'm insulting because of this, but that thing's way too common at this point in our pop culture to just be like, just another spoiler.
My friend, who before taking with me to the Force Awakens premiere, actually got her to watch the first 3 episodes of the original, in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
One of the first things she said when I was talking to her about it, before even watching one of the episodes, she's like, "Wait, what? You're serious? Darth Vader is Luke's dad?" I'm like...
Yeah, I guess, if you've never seen Star Wars before, I guess we can't be too angry, but at the same time, and yeah, it's almost like, have you lived under a rock your whole childhood?
Though I feel like the way that Force Awakens hints at the original trilogy at some points, it kind of gives the newcomers an opportunity to delve more into the Star Wars universe.
Mm-hmm. And even for like the familiar things, like Steven said, I at least like have heard of this and that. So when, like, I don't know, I don't want to get too spoilery, but let's just say when they, like, reveal, like, the old characters, I wasn't like, who's this? I'm, like, when the audience was, like, applauding and clapping, I was clapping along with them too, you know?
Although, I'm gonna, funny thing is, yeah, I'm calling on you hypocrites who were at the screening for all of those prequels. I was there with you. You guys clapped way louder then than you did for this. Maybe it was just a theater. But you clapped way longer for that. And you knew those movies were bad. So, screw you.
So, anything else?
Yeah, I think we just covered our bases. Sorry again. And if you're a newcomer, especially I hope my high school cross country team doesn't watch this video and they get
spoiler. They all watch this.
Dun dun dun.
But okay, basically we're just gonna wrap it up right here. It's not great. It's not the movie you're expecting to be the movie of the year, but hey, it's a good starting point, and hey, it's still a lot of fun even if you haven't seen it. The rest, go watch it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Go watch.
Hey guys, be sure to like this Blood Moon Bobby video if you enjoyed it. Please share this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment. Be sure to ring the notification bell to be notified about my latest upload. Follow me on my social media pages at Blood Moon Bobby to find out about what I'll be covering next and for more of my opinions. Thanks for watching.